this old tree, probably about 200, 250 years old. But that isn't the tree of Loch Lomond. The tree of Loch Lomond is the oak. And these particular oaks were probably planted by Robert the Bruce in the 14th century, at least the original trees, the descendants. And over on the island of Inchlonig are the other trees that Bruce planted, the yew tree for his bowmen. And they were probably used at the Battle of Bannockburn. And that makes you think. There is a feeling in this particular kind of place in Loch Lomond that you're the first person that's ever been there. And no matter how busy the season is, you can always find peace. But early in the year, before the tourists come, this is the beginning of April, that feeling is intensified. And yet, although you may think you've got it to yourself, very often you find another self-seeker has come for the same thing that you're looking for, especially to this particular bay, because this bay not only looks upon Ben Lomond, suddenly it's there beyond the Narrows between two islands, but it's a great place to light a wee fire and have a drum up with that view in front of you. But William Wordsworth thought Loch Lomond didn't compare with his own beloved Lakeland because the hills were too high and the loch too wide. Retired shipwright Jimmy Kerr can't stay away from Loch Lomond. Could you say, Jimmy, you've seen a terrific increase in the use of Loch Lomond in the time you've known it?
Oh, absolutely, Tom. Yes, because in my younger days, Tom, the motor car was pretty much in its infancy. And when I was a boy, the only people that owned motor cars were, say, maybe like professional people, doctors or a lawyer. There were no working people owned a motor car. So you can imagine now, the motor car has opened up Loch Lomond to a tremendous amount of people. I mean, all types of people. Now, they can come along these roads there with a little trailer and their boat, throw them into the loch, and then they're away again, maybe the same night or maybe over a weekend. Oh, the loch has been developed quite a bit regarding people. But as a point I'm always making now is, the loch basically is unchanged since the glacier age. It's still the same loch. I mean, looking around where we are just now, there's no sign of mankind or habitation whatsoever, nothing in sight at all.
Don't you think the whole of Loch Lomond should be one big national park and planned so that it's planned for conservation and development restricted?
Well, Tom, you would think that in a broad statement would be correct, but you've got to admit that the people who own Loch Lomond and its environment have kept it pretty good themselves, have they not?
Jimmy, I think one of the weaknesses of Loch Lomond is the fact that there is no agency for overall planning. That's to say, the west side of the loch is Dumbartonshire, the east side is Stirlingshire.
That's right.
And it's very, very hard to coordinate things.
Well, that's true, Tom. But you were talking about government control.
National park.
A national park. Well, in theory, it looks very nice. But I would say, if Loch Lomond is left, even under the present ownership, I think it would be a very good idea, because it's been good for 1,000 years, and I think it's still good to carry on. Because once you bring government ownership into anything, you get a bureaucracy, you get people, officials, who more or less wield the iron sword. It's like Nazi Germany, National Socialism. I've met rangers in the Forestry Commission that more or less virtually ran me off at the threat of the jail. Now, they are public servants, but to me I was a criminal because I was on their property, which is the nation's property. The government are harder taskmasters regarding property in the private owner. You've got more sympathy from a laird than you get from a government department. Once you get that broad arrow, beware. Beware.
There's a point in what you say.
See what I'm getting at?
Aye.
Now, I'll be quite happy if this area, the whole of Loch Lomond, is kept more or less on the same basis. Let people enjoy it, let people look after it, and I don't think we'll have any conflict between ownership and public people enjoying it.
Right, let's have a sail through the Narrows, Jimmy.
Why you go through the Narrows? Up,
Yes.
up the Amazon?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely, Tom. Very good.
Real old sourdoughs, such as the men we've been talking to, have been enjoying Loch Lomond since their teenage days, and they're still doing so. In return, however, they have made themselves protectors of Loch Lomond. Maybe you think it's wrong to light a fire. Not so if you choose a safe place, and thoroughly douse the fire afterwards so that nobody knows you've been there. But there's nothing precise about a hot air balloon, and I'm just wondering where we're going to hit the ground and how hard.
Downwind, Tom, downwind.
But where, I'm saying, where?
Somewhere downwind, that's as close as I'll predict. I'll tell you just shortly after we've landed.
So you've got to be pretty decisive then in this balloon.
Well, we can land along the line which we're flying. Now, we can decide along that line whereabouts we land. So we'll let it down, hopefully not into trees and not into the water, but somewhere which is a fairly open spot so we can get down safely.
Well, I'll tell you this, it's going to be exciting for me to see where we do land, because the land's getting very close.
Okay, Tom, this looks like it's the landing coming up now. We'll get in just on the edge of this brow here. Now, remember what I told you, hold these rope handles and don't get out of the basket. Now, it's going to be a fairly fast one, this, and we will hit the ground fairly hard. So just hang on in and don't get out till I tell you, okay?
So this is the controlled accident.
This is going to be a controlled accident, Tom.
Well, it's coming up.
Okay.